grocery store and hello to HelloFresh. Healthy ingredients, easy to follow. $30 off your first box. Free shipping. HelloFresh.com/Colin. Olympics start this week, and being an Olympic athlete, regardless if you're gold, silver, or bronze, it's an all-time accomplishment. You're an Olympic athlete. You qualified for the Olympics. Obviously, if you're in Uzbekistan, medaling would be through the roof. But it's funny listening to Brady having lost the Super Bowl. There's this, the guy has been to 8 Super Bowls. He's lost 3 of them. Listen. He threw for 500 yards. This one's not on Tom. Can we all agree? Okay. Ask yourself this. If your favorite team could get to the next 4 Super Bowls but only win 1, would you take it? Even in Philadelphia today, the answer would be yes, because that means you'd be beating those guys you hate called the Cowboys and those guys you hate called the Giants. Getting to a Super Bowl is a thing, and I'll give you an example. Kurt Warner is in the Hall of Fame, not because he won a Super Bowl. Because if Kurt Warner had only been to 1 Super Bowl with Mike Martz and the Rams, people would say he was a system quarterback. Mark Bolger took over. Look at how good Bolger was. Kurt was simply a system quarterback. But it was Kurt Warner going to a Super Bowl and another and losing, yes, in Arizona, that made people go, oh, hell, he's a Super Bowl quarterback. Kurt Warner does not make the Hall of Fame if he goes 1 for 1 in Super Bowls. Just going, and there's no greater accomplishment than Hall of Fame. That's even greater than winning a Super Bowl, a Hall of Famer. If you ask an NFL player, you can be a Hall of Famer or win a Super Bowl. Every player I've ever asked says, oh, Hall of Fame. That never leaves you. People forget about Super Bowl winners. They do. They do not forget about Hall of Famers. That's a gold jacket. Only 300 guys ever worn that puppy. That's why T.O. was throwing tantrums when people said he didn't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. You see how emotional guys get when they get into the Hall of Fame. Don't get too caught up in, Brady's been to 8, but he wasn't perfect. Tom Brady's played 17 years, almost half he's been to the Super Bowl. But Michael Jordan went 6 for 6 because Michael Jordan couldn't get past Larry Bird and the Celtics. He went 0-6 in the playoffs against Larry Bird. Remember, if the NBA had the same alignment as the NHL, then Chicago would have been in the Western Conference, and Michael wouldn't have been able to get to 6 finals. And by the way, one of the advantages for Michael Jordan is by the time he got past the aged Celtics and the aged Pistons, the Western teams weren't all that great. Yeah, he would have lost to those Pistons. If he was a Western player, he would have lost to Larry Bird in the finals. He would have lost to those Pistons in the finals. Part of Michael Jordan, when the Celtics and Pistons got old, he got to the finals to a watered down at the top West. He's out West just like the Blackhawks for a while. If we had realignments, he'd be going to the finals, losing to Isaiah Thomas and the Bad Boys, losing to Larry Bird, McHale, and the Celtic teams. Never forget that Peyton Manning won a Super Bowl in his last year. Do you remember the numbers? Do you remember the numbers? Yeah, he had 140 yards, no touchdown, completed 13 throws, and a passer rating of 56. Tom Brady threw for 500 yards and lost. This one's not on Tom. Remember, John Elway is a legend, not just because he won 2 Super Bowls. He was in 5. And Elway, it should be noted, has a career Super Bowl passer rating QBR of 59. He got crushed, I think, at least twice. Crushed, humiliated. So you wake up in the morning. I'm not saying we're Uzbekistan, where you just get to the Olympics and any medal would be fine. But if you look at Tom Brady and you consider winning a Super Bowl gold, losing a Super Bowl silver, and winning an AFC championship or getting to it or winning it, a bronze, Brady's got 5 golds, 3 silvers, and 4 bronze. Nobody's ever come close to that. And I guarantee you he'd take another silver. If you ask Tom Brady today, you can get to the Super Bowl next year and lose, he would take it. If Philadelphia, you can get to the next 4, you win 1. It still means you're beating the Cowboys, who you hate, you're beating the Giants, who you hate, you're beating Washington, who you hate, and you're keeping Aaron Rodgers out. There is value in getting there. Ask Kurt Warner. Christine with the news.
No. Turn on the news. This is the Herd Line News.
You briefly mentioned this, but the Malcolm Butler situation has a lot of people trying to figure out what actually happened.
Right.
And yesterday there was a guy that tweeted something out, and it wasn't like he was a reporter or anything, but a lot of different outlets ran with it.
Yeah.
We didn't say what it was.
No, we didn't.
And now Ian Rappaport is saying something, so I tend to believe that he has good sourcing on this.
Okay.
But he tweeted out that his understanding of the benching of Malcolm Butler happened because of a perfect storm of issues: sickness, a rough week of practice, and a minor rule violation believed to be related to curfew. And it was a complicated matter. So kind of sounds similar to what we heard yesterday.
Yeah, we heard, you and I wouldn't report, but we heard about the minor violation.
Yes, and that a curfew violation might have happened.
I still wouldn't have held him out for the game.
I would maybe, don't start him.
No question. And just say to him, you're not playing in the first quarter. We're just not going to play in the first quarter. By the way, that's punishment for a Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
Especially,
or even to just not start.
Yeah, it is. Listen, there is somewhere between what Nick Saban would have done, which is held him out for pregame jumping jacks, and what Belichick did, which is I'm not going to play him at all. There's a happy medium. Mm-hmm. I don't like the idea of punishing everybody for the misdeeds and poor judgment of one person. And I know people always say, well, the fabric of the team. Listen, the fabric of this team is darn good. They got to a Super Bowl. I don't believe you should punish the left tackle because the right corner showed up 15 minutes late to his room. I just don't like that.
So when Bill Belichick was asked about the punishment, if it was too harsh, he said, the final decision is what I said it was, which really reminds me of when my parents used to say, because I said so.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm not a big fan of that.
You're not a parent.
Yeah.
Rob Ninkovich, who used to play for the Patriots, he retired in 2016, said that if he was still on the Patriots and if Malcolm Butler had been benched when he was there, he wouldn't be happy.
I'd be pretty angry, I guess, because everyone out there on that field is giving it everything they got, and you want the best players with you. And I understand that the coaching staff said that, they felt like it gave them the best opportunity to win, but if you look at the outcome of the game and you look at the 7.7 yards per play, it's like, okay, it's like when I played for Miami in 2007, they were 1-15, and they would tell me, like, hey, we're good, and I'm looking at them like, no, you're not. You're 0-10. Like, just give me a chance.
So when there are other players who are saying this, it tells me, I bet Rob Ninkovich has some sources or has talked to other guys and he knows exactly what happened.
Yeah.
And if he's willing to say that, it makes me side with
Listen,
them.
Belichick demands a lot from his players. Mm-hmm. He's not going to pay as much. The practices are harder. He doesn't let you have an opinion during the week and express yourself. So Bill Belichick asks a lot of his players.
Yes.
So in this instance, his players could ask for just one thing. Bill, don't be so rigid. We need him.
Yeah, don't be so rigid that we lose the game.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, if you ask a lot of your kids and they ask you once for something, you can be, listen, it's the old joke, like the over-strict parent. Let your daughter go out occasionally or she ends up at the strip club at 28 years old.
Yeah, otherwise she goes to college and parties there.
Yeah, and like if you're going to ask a lot of your kids or of your coworkers or of your football players, and Bill does, you got to be able to occasionally give them something back. And in this instance, a little leeway, I think, was reasonable.
Mm-hmm. And finally, Doug Peterson was talking about who his quarterback's going to be next year and what the plan should be for Carson Wentz. Here's what he said.
I had a chance to talk to Carson actually on the field, on the podium last night after the game, and just told him to take this in, just enjoy this moment. He's a great quarterback, and he's a big reason. I told him, I said, you're a big part of why this team won this championship and won this game. And I told him that hopefully we'll be back in this game, with him leading the way.
I totally get it. It's just a weird situation. Like, Nick Foles just won you the Super Bowl, and you're like, yeah, Carson Wentz, you're back.
There is this feeling, Christine, that, God, if Nick Foles can get us there, then you know that we're going to get back. Let me tell you something. Dan Marino got to one early and never got back. The reality is Aaron Rodgers has got 6 more years. And it looks like Green Bay is going to now start signing a few more free agents. Seattle's not going anywhere with Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll. Garoppolo now is a full-time starter. Minnesota's roster's loaded if they could get the right quarterback. Sam Darnold's going to the Giants. He could be a home run for them. The NFC's loaded. Matt Ryan's not going anywhere. Matt Ryan's got 7 more years. Drew Brees has 3 more years. Cam Newton's not going anywhere. The NFC, outside of Arizona, everybody's got a at least reasonably good franchise quarterback. I said this yesterday, Christine. This Eagles team reminds me, and I'm kind of aging myself here, but Arizona had a coach named Lute Olson. He was great forever, and he had all these veteran teams, and they could never win the championship. And he had this one team with a kid named Miles Simon came in, and it was the one everybody thought, oh, Lute's got no chance to win. And they won the championship, and that's the only one he ever won. Like, there was a lot of things that went their way this year, Christine. Aaron Rodgers got hurt. Seattle's offensive line and all the political stuff imploded. I mean, it's just, this was a lot of things work. And by the way, it could have easily been Drew Brees going to Philadelphia to play the Eagles and not Case Keenum, if not for a walk-off. And that point spread would have been a pick-em. It wouldn't have been Philadelphia to win that game over a team coming off a walk-off. So, and that's not to say Philadelphia won't be good. Don't be so sure Carson's going to get there 6 times.
That's rough.
Christine, is that it?
Yeah,
Christine with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Line News.
Doug Gottlieb, top of the hour. So I think it's a real thing, is that I think the NFL this year, increasingly, technology, and I love technology. I'm not necessarily great at technology. I try to adapt to it. As a dad, my kids, I try to make sure I can kind of follow them on the Instagrams and the Twitters, and my kids stay off Facebook, thankfully, but by and large, it's overwhelming, and I'm not a believer in all technology. I don't take my phone out at night when I go out to have dinner. I don't want it to be a distraction. I think it's rude. I don't think it's polite to my wife, and I want to engage with her. So I'm one of these that I adapt to some technology. I'm no whiz, that's for sure, but I also think it can be a distraction, and I don't think you should use all technology. And I go to restaurants and I see people on dates and they're staring at phones, and I'm like, awful. Like, that's just so disrespectful to the person you're with. And I also think in sports, technology should be used, but there should be borders on technology. I don't want my balls and strikes called by a computer. I want it called by an umpire. Okay? I don't want everything used. And I think technology in football is giving us frame-by-frame sequencing that's not healthy. And I think it's also creating long replays, like on the Zach Ertz touchdown, that are annoying to me. I think it's annoying. I think there's too much replay. And I think the future of the catch rule, this Super Bowl, what it told me was the NFL went into common sense mode in the Super Bowl. They went into common sense mode. And I want to start, they made a commitment to common sense. I want to show you the Corey Clement touchdown. Corey Clement, the touchdown for the Eagles. Now, I said, when I watched that, I didn't think it was a touchdown, because I said, based on what the NFL has shown me on the Corey Clement touchdown, based on what the NFL showed me this year, it's not a touchdown, it was bobbled. But what I think it should have been is a touchdown, because I never thought he lost control. Now, again, based on what you showed me as a league, I said no touchdown. Foot hit the line, ball bobbled. But what do I think it should be? I think this is a touchdown. Now, the ball readjusts, the ball moves, but he never loses control. It's clearly in his pocket. There's never a moment when this young kid doesn't have control of the football. I think the ball can move within your pocket. It readjusts to your body as you are moving. I mean, your arms are just go grab a football, run as fast as you can for 40 yards. The ball can move slightly. And with technology, we see these slight movements of the ball. He never lost control. It was a great throw. It was a great catch. And the ball slightly adjusts. So to me, that should be a touchdown. But based on what the NFL showed me this year, I said, no, it's not a touchdown. But I think what the NFL did was, I think they really erred on the side of common sense in the Super Bowl, and that's when Roger Goodell came on the show. Now, by the way, Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth go to the plate. They were, as I was, they were confused by it.
Take a look here. Starts to lose control, and then that left foot is clearly out of bounds.
After review, the ruling on the field stands.
I'm stunned.
Yeah, we looked at that. It looks like it can go either way.
I give up.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
I give up. If that ball is not loose in his arms when that last foot came down, I give up.
Okay, it was loose, but he never lost control, and there's a difference. Now, remember when Roger Goodell, the commissioner, came on my show last week? He made a comment, and I think it's worth replaying. It's going to take about 30 seconds here. Here's Roger Goodell on our show, because I asked him, I said, this is confusing. I'm a fan of your sport, and you're driving me crazy, and you're driving me. I'm confused, and I'm a consumer, and I love your league. Here's what he said.
I'm not just somewhat concerned. I am concerned. We just had 5 Hall of Fame receivers and several coaches come in just 2 weeks ago to focus on the catch-no-catch rule. I think here you might have clarity in a large element of it, but then what happens is it's not the rule that people really want.
Right.
And one of our Hall of Fame receivers said it well to me when we looked at this a couple of years ago. Fans want catches.
That's the easiest way for me to create clarity. Let's just take the ground out of it. That is a catch. Zach Ertz was a catch. Jesse James was a catch. Whether it's the goal line or midfield, let's take the ground out of it. Now, the reason the NFL added the ground to catches is very simple. They felt there were too many changes of possession, too many fumbles. So they said if we elongate the process of a catch, it will mean more balls ruled not as a catch, but will have fewer changes of possession. And I would argue this. I've never turned off a game due to a fumble. I considered turning off several due to a 9-minute replay. Take the ground out of the process. As I say over and over, if I threw you a tennis ball and you grabbed it, I would say, nice catch. That's a catch. Just take the ground out of it. Jesse James, that's a touchdown. Okay. Now, it is going to increase the number of fumbles, and that's what the league doesn't like. But I would say this, that is then up to coaches. Coach your players not to extend after a catch. Catch it, secure it, and go down, go out of bounds, or don't stretch for yards. That's up to coaching. And again, change of possession can be a wonderful thing because if I'm trailing and I need the ball and there's more fumbles, let's say there's half of a fumble more per game. The danger in this game is never change of possession. The danger is using so much technology that we're creating confusion for the consumers and unrealistic expectations for athletes. We all watch these games to see greatness. Replay is now often taking away greatness. We got some exciting news. Doug Gottlieb joining us in 20 minutes. A home security company, Simply Safe, we have worked with since the startup. They have transformed into the fastest growing home security company in America, protecting over 2 million people. Well, now they have just released their brand new home security system, the all-new Simply Safe, completely rebuilt and redesigned. And what they did is they added safeguards. It protects now against power outages, downed Wi-Fi, cut landlines, bats and hammers. I guess bats are a big problem. People apparently live in caves all over America. This is Simply Safe. Years building it, now they've made it even better. You still get the same fair and honest price, 24/7 protection, only $15 a month, and no contract. Real simple. Go to simplysafecolin.com. simplysafecolin.com. simplysafecolin.com.
You spray, you trim.